Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us at Dubai International Content 2023 at Madinat Jumeirah. We have an amazing session for you this morning called Fast in MENA, and we can't wait to get it started. So thank you again for joining us, and at this time, allow me to introduce the moderators and the speakers for this session. Mr. Yann Colleter from the Streaming Lab. Ms. Nadine Samra from Weyyak. Mr. Faris Sayegh from Roya Media Group. Mr. Ahmad Qandil from Shahid. And Mr. Shujah Farooq from OTTera. Have a great session.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first DICM talks of the day. Fast in MENA, part 2. Why part 2? The part 1 happened not long ago, beginning of October, exactly 48 days before. Nadine was with me, of course. Jordan from OTTera, a colleague of Shujah, was with me also. And it was a webinar, a little bit different format. And what's very interesting is that in 48 days, a lot happened in Fast in MENA. Nadine and Weyyak launched new single IP fast channels. Shujah and Tarfi TV doubled the number of fast channels available today. And Roya and Shahid kept adding more and more fast channels. So I've been tracking Fast in MENA for the past year. And I can tell you, I'm never bored. A lot happened. Every month, it's different. So this session should be very interesting. We'll start with a quick presentation, a few slides to put in perspective Fast in MENA within the streaming ecosystem in Middle East and North Africa. And then we'll move to the discussion. If you follow me online, I'm sure you're used to this slide. I keep updating it every month, and a lot happened. What you can see is all the streaming services launches in the past 10 years. The main insights are that the first streaming services were mainly advertising based. Then most of them switched to hybrid model with SVOD. Today, they are still hybrids, but not only AVOD and SVOD, also TVOD, and finally fast. As you can see, the new launches and rebranding this year are mainly ad-supported based. I can see Distro TV, 101, Starsplay launched TVOD, Noon launched ad-supported SVOD, El Shasha is also a mix of SVOD and fast. Ashark News launched, and Tarfi TV disappeared, but it's still here. So Tarfi TV launched a few months ago, pure fast platform here. And then Starzone that recently launched the AVOD and fast offering of Starsplay with amazing channels. So I'll try to mention some of them during the panel today. This slide shows the complexity of the market. The market is very hybrid today. It's complex for us, streaming professionals, but it's, from my point of view, better for the end users. They can watch much more content on different platforms, and they don't have to pay for it. Now they can watch a lot of premium content, but for free. Here is my latest graph about Fast in MENA. I track every month the number of channels available on the MENA platforms. As you can see, Shahid is leading the race right now. Starzone launched on 1st of November with already almost 50 fast channels. And then what's very interesting with the others is the trend. The trend is very positive. They keep adding new fast channels. And I'm sure the pace will keep like this for the following months. finally, we're talking about fast, not only about the number of channels, but the channels themselves. The region is very unique because most of the channels are what we call owned and operated. Shahid created their own channels to meet the expectations of their audience, and same for Weyyak, for Roya, and for Tarfi TV. A mix of channels that can be news, they can be single IP channel about a specific actor, about a specific TV series. So we already have a very interesting portfolio in the region. What's new is the channels coming from third-party providers. I mentioned Starzone before. They managed to bring to the region very premium channels like Baywatch and Fear Factor or DAZN Combat. That's it for the quick presentation. I will share this deck on my newsletter on Monday, so feel free to subscribe if you want to receive it. Let's switch to the panel. It's time to introduce finally our guest. We have Nadine, of course, from Weyyak. Welcome back, Nadine. Happy to have you with me. Fares from Roya. We met yesterday. It's good to see you again. Ahmad from Shahid. Good to have you. We finally meet on stage. And Shujah, of course, welcome back to Dubai. Let's start. Cool. The discussion will be based on three main sections that are the pillars of FAST: content, distribution, and monetization. The first question will be the same for all of you. How does the FAST model fit into your own streaming ecosystem? And we'll start with Nadine.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I think the model just integrates very well with Weyyak anyway. From a business perspective, Weyyak is mainly an AVOD platform with a small layer of SVOD on top of it. So FAST becomes something that is very normal to the platform. So the first time we launched our own channels, there were 4 Weyyak channels before 3 years. And the idea came because we saw the need for having our own specific channels other than the catch-up channels, ZL1 and ZFlam that we have them, and then the journey have started. So it matches us completely because we are always in the hope of increasing our inventory and increasing the different advertising models that we have on the platform.
Okay, so you launched your first FAST channels 3 years ago.
Absolutely, yes.
Good. Congrats.
Thank you.
And you launched many new channels since then, so I'll ask you about this also
Yes,
later.
absolutely.
Roya TV, so how FAST, what FAST is for Roya TV today?
Well, initially there are two main things. First, we're always hungry to innovate and always hungry to be, to lead when it gets to trying new products, trying to do new technologies. So to us, it's very important that we wanted to test it, make sure that we experience what is fast, is it working, is it not working, rather than just hearing from the market if it's working or not. I think the entry is quite cost effective since we own a lot of content and a lot of IPs. So it's very easy for us to launch it. That was actually one of the easiest things that we have done since we have launched our AVOD and SVOD service. So it was quite easy just to come up with so many different channels and so many different varieties that we can utilize and optimize the content that we already own, that we've been producing for the past 13 years. And ultimately, the main goal is to increase our inventory. Advertising, there's still huge numbers, huge budgets being spent on advertising, and we feel that it is what would make us most of the money is by doing direct sales and trying to bring in, clients to do advertising on our FAST, along with our AVOD, which we're very hungry to actually add, on our inventory, and it's actually working in certain products. And I think the unique thing about FAST that you get to test new channels, you get to test new thematics, you get to test new categories. For example, we launched a news channel a couple months ago, just on FAST to see how it works, and it's already now #1. So it was proven as a model that that channel works. So it's very easy for us to launch, and if it doesn't work, it will be very easy for us to just drop at almost no cost. So that is a beautiful thing when it gets to testing and trying new products that possibly could be distributed to other platforms, or possibly can go to linear if it makes financial sense.
So test and learn mode for you. Ahmed?
Good morning, everyone. So since we've been having almost 2 years now a two-tier service. We launched SVOD in 2014. It's 10 years old. But AVOD has been the strategy since the launch. So we've been live since 2008. And we've been trying to grow our revenue in different ways. And trying to cater for the customer needs in different ways. Since we have a vast library of content, tens of thousands of hours of content that is on the platform, and we also notice that people like to consume this content in different ways. People are attentive, trying to go actively searching what they want to watch. But we also notice certain behaviors when we launched before Fast our live channels, that there is a certain behavior where people want to watch passively or not 100% attentively to these channels. And then Fast came in to actually repurpose some of this content. So we launched a few channels as a test. I think we launched with 30 channels at the beginning of different genres and categories, just to see and test the water of how people would consume this content. Then we just started learning and understanding how people are consuming Fast, when do they consume it, how they consume it, what kind of content they consume. And then we started kind of triage our strategy and see what works and what doesn't. And we still do that today. We keep killing and launching channels all the time. But it just fits naturally with our AVOD strategy. It's one of the things that we're trying to grow, and we are actually backing up in this region. We're happy to be the first actually to launch Fast channels in the region. And we're going to look even in the future for more ways to actually repurpose our content, because we always understand that people have different commitment to watching content. They can allocate certain time to watching content. We understand not everyone has hours that they want to dedicate to just having a pure VOD consumption. They have other ways and other approaches to viewing content, and that's what we're going to continue to cater for.
Thank you. Shujah?
Good morning, everyone. So for us, it's a bit of a slightly different situation, because these three other companies were already established services in the region. Us, OTTera being actually a vendor, a technical vendor for OTT services and fast channels, we actually launched Turfy TV not actually with the intentions of becoming a B2C player, but mainly to open up the region to fast. Again, for those who might not know, our company, OTTera, is actually one of the leading company when it comes to creation and powering and distribution of fast channels globally. We power 700 fast channels in every market. And what we have done is, to certain markets where the big players compared to the US or Europe are not so prominent, like in the US you have every single OEM and Pluto TV that are doing fast. What we have noticed is that the Middle East market is one of the regions where we thought there were a good penetration rate and a good opportunity. So in order to open up the market to fast, we decided to launch our service. It's also paradoxical quite here, because every single one of these companies here are actually our partners. We have delivered more channels to these guys than we have launched on our own service. So that's actually the funny situation here. The also interesting bit for Turfy and for us is having the experience for more than 4 years of doing fast internationally, is that we actually happen to know what type of content editorial and what type of genre perform better than the others. In that regards, actually when we exchange with our partners here, we explain to them what type of channels we recommend based on the behavior we see in the US, in Europe, in LATAM, and so on. So yeah, at the end of the day, Turfy is meant to be simply to maximize audience and bring every single channel for all different demographics in the region. This is why we started mainly with channels in Arabic, but we also intend to bring on other channels that are relevant for the demographic here.
Thank you, Shujah. So if I summarize the business models, Turfy TV is a pure fast platform, right? Shahid, AVOD, SVOD, and fast. That's it for now?
For now.
Okay. Tell me more. We'll see. Roya TV, AVOD, SVOD, and fast also. and same for Weyyak, right? AVOD is the focus. You have also an SVOD offer, and fast also. Cool. Nadine, back to you. So during our webinar last month, you mentioned that you were about to launch 4 new channels. Can you tell me more about them? Who are the providers? What are they exactly?
Sure. So there are 2 categories that we have launched recently. One of them is our continuation effort of releasing more fast channels from other partners. So we've done that, and we're continually adding new fast channels into our platform. The second thing is the single IP channels, which are the main thing that we were really looking forward to launch and to see the impact on our audience. So we were betting actually internally that these channels are going to do well. And that's because we believe in the content. So we released 2 channels, one called Hayat Albi and the other one Joda Akbar. And these are the top 2, some of the 2 top titles that we have on the platform. These 2 channels are the single IP channels for each title of them. And these 2 channels actually are on the top of the viewing of the fast channels on our platform.
Already?
On top of Weyyak 4 channels, on top of our own linear channels, on top of all our partners' channels as well. So it is very interesting. I think it's because it's just something new that everyone is trying to experiment with. We still don't have answers on why exactly this is the behavior. Sometimes you would think, okay, that's weird because, you know, how are you going to be? It's actually the opposite of the VOD concept completely. Like VOD is video on demand. The user goes into a particular season, watches a particular episode, right? That's why we exist at the beginning. And then fast single IP channels comes into picture. People really like it, watch it, and it is already a pre-programmed seasons and episodes for the user. So when you tune in, you might be at season number 5, episode number 20, and then you still watch. So that's a surprise for us. We're still exploring, trying to understand the user behavior on that. But I think it's a very interesting journey for us that's going on right now.
Thank you, Nadine. Ahmad, the next question is for you. Shahid is leading the fast race, as we can see in terms of number of fast channels. I track the number of channels of Shahid every month, and I can see every month you add channels, but you also remove channels. Are you still in a test and learn mode? What's your strategy with this?
I mean, we're always in a test and learn mode. So we tend to test with different genres of content that we have in our library, and we see how people respond to it over time. But also there are other factors on why we launch channels, because to us as well, we look at it differently. There are channels that we launch for occasions, for example. We had the World Cup channel that we launched. We had the National Day channel that we launched. We have the Halloween channel that we launched. So these are pop-up channels that we launch for occasions. So if people are looking for a destination to be part of a theme or an occasion or a trend, they'll come and find it on Shahid. Then later, when that occasion goes away or people are not actively watching these channels, we tend to find the next trend and the next best event that we should cater for. So it depends on the strategy. So the working channels will always be there. So there are certain genres that we found out that people watch all the time. There are certain genres that people tend to watch only in few parts of the year or seasonal, and we keep monitoring that. That's why you'll always see us adding channels, killing channels. We'll continue that approach until we kind of grow it to a mass proportion of audiences.
Can you tell me more about the genres that perform well on Shahid? Fast.
That's a very good question. I mean, listen, people like to watch things that are, again, it's back to the commitment, right? So there are people that are willing to commit for a drama and willing to come back for it. There are stuff that people are not willing to commit to watch. They'll come, join anytime, turn on the channel, watch for half an hour, 2 hours, and leave. So we tend to see this with, I would say, non-drama channels. And I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Fares, Roya TV is already the 3rd platform in terms of number of channels. I think you have more than 35 right now. What's your objective with this model? And maybe a question specific to news. You mentioned this before. Do you think these fast channels will perform well today and tomorrow?
Yeah, unfortunately, and fortunately at the same time, we launched it right before the war. By coincidence, we actually launched it in August, and mainly because we couldn't offer a lot of news on our linear, so we needed another channel that could carry, the news events that we were not able to carry on the linear channel. So for that reason, we thought about that. And then when the news started, it was just like a jackpot, And currently on our platform, actually the news channel is performing better than our linear channel, and it's growing day by day. So we're, that as a successful model, we thought, okay, can we do more of that? Can we do another maybe? Other genres that could possibly attract viewers. But again, it all depends on the testing, on what could work, what couldn't work. And the timing I guess the timing was a coincidence that made it work. I cannot say, if you had asked me that question maybe in September, I wouldn't be as confident as today. And maybe the channel would be doing as good in 3-4 months if the war ended. But as of today, this has been the luckiest decision that we have made, and it worked. And it proved that if you have good content, people will come and watch it, and that's what you need to do basically. And I guess that's what Shahid is doing now, just trying different channels, what sticks they keep, what doesn't stick they remove. And hopefully in the coming period, we will be trying and testing different products, trying to testing different genres, whether it is from our own IPs or try to aggregate or carry other channels that we can test, whether it's documentaries, factual, other drama series, could be kids. So we're trying to all kind of different categories and trying to test how does it work, how is it working in each region, and how we can develop that further.
You have a lot of cooking channels, you have a lot of kids channels.
Yeah.
Does it mean that they perform well on your platform, or you're still testing?
After news, you have a drama, comedy, and then food is definitely one of the top ones. We have 4 channels. We're hoping to add more. Kids, we have 3 kids channels. They actually perform very well, which is quite interesting. But we see why, because it caters to a specific age with specific content, and the parents, they feel this is safe. So they leave their kid, they're not gonna, it's very, because it's all of our content that we produce, so it's very well curated and very well produced, that's, relevant to our culture. And we're actually, what's interesting, when we created those channels, now we're noticing opportunities of, distributing these channels to even linear. Some of them, could it be possible to go to analog again? Is there a possibility in that? Even if it maybe not in our region, could it be possible in other regions? As long as, since it's performing well on our platform, we want to try to explore, taking that and putting it elsewhere.
Okay, we'll talk about this on the distribution section, but it's a very interesting point. Shujah, Tarfi TV started with 5 channels. Now you have more. You have 11, if I'm not mistaken. Do you want to keep this pace, or what's your strategy?
No, it should be much more aggressive. So again, pointing out that even though obviously we were preparing the service and launching the service, as I said, we have delivered more channels to Weyyak or to Shahid, for example, and about to deliver them to Roya. We have delivered much higher volume to these guys than we have put on platform. Again, because our focus for the region was to open up the market and bring our clients' channels to these lovely platforms. So in that regard, the increase on our future lineup are going to be coming up from two areas. Number one is our clients that are globally collaborating with OTTera to launch and their fast channels. So for example, we have signed with ZTV, Z Entertainment, of course, as you know, the major Indian broadcaster. So we are about to launch their fast channels for all around the world. And of course, we're going to bring them into the region, of course, to you guys, don't worry as well. But also, we're going to put them on Tarfi. We're also planning to bring them, not necessarily, I would say, European or English language channels. We, for example, have signed with TV5 Monde recently. So they have about to create lifestyle and other channels that they have with global rights. So those channels are coming to the market. And on top of that, we simply have, like I said, our other clients locally here that we are signing up with, that we started distributing. So we have more low GCC media groups, basically companies that are that are soon launching their channels in collaboration with OTTera. So we're going to have channels coming from the local players, from the local media groups, and from international markets that we're going to bring to the region.
Okay, great. This was my next questions. I can see on Tarfi TV mainly local channels coming from all over the region for now. So we should see.
Yeah, currently it's all in
others also
Arabic, what
from-
you have here. So our intention again is to address all different demographic, because even though indeed we are in the Middle East, in a lot of markets, Arabic is not the more spoken language, in fact, the paradox of it. So we are intending to bring channels in Urdu, in Hindi, in Filipino, and many other languages to fully, for any person who lives or is in the area, want to entertain himself, will find content in its language.
Thank you, Shujah. Let's move to the distribution part of the panel, and I'll start with Nadine. Same question than I asked you during the webinar. So you already have 4 owned and operated channels: Mix, Drama, Action, and Now I Am. I know we can already find those channels outside of your ecosystem. Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Yeah, absolutely. It's part of our mission of experimenting, expanding our business, finding new business models to the platform, trying to make more revenues for the company as well. So we have these 4 channels which has our valuable content on them, purely curated by the Weyyak team, scheduled and planned by them on a monthly basis. Actually, the person who does this is here with us today. So yeah. So what we thought about is that these channels are so valuable for us. They're performing really well with Weyyak, right? So why don't we distribute them to other platforms and make this available for others? We started this thinking before a while now, and we managed to distribute them to other platforms. We have at least 1 or 2 other players who have carry on our channels. And we are planning to continue doing that with the Weyyak channels, the 4 channels. And actually what is on the table right now is for the single IP channels, because they seem to be very valuable, which is the value for them still for us to explore. But it is also on the table now that we might be able to distribute these channels to other platforms to capitalize on the performance of them and capitalize on the value that this brings in terms of viewership, stickiness to the platform, and inventory as well.
How do you select your partners? Relationship, legal aspects, maybe the deal itself, or?
See, mostly relationships and what would make sense to both of us from a win-win perspective. So there is no tick boxes that we need to check before we partner with any partner. Actually, it's more on what's the value that they're going to give us, what's the value that in return we're going to give them, and we are willing to experiment, actually. We've been the platform that is a go-to platform for so many partners who started in the market through Weyyak. So we were their first stop, and we were the first people that helped them out to explore the market, just because of the way we think. We are flexible, and we don't have big egos, actually. We're just approachable. We like to collaborate, work with other people, because we believe that, you know, having these win-win scenarios will get us to somewhere.
That's a great mindset.
Thank you.
And it looks like FAST is also helps also collaboration between all of the local players. So
yeah, absolutely. We've been collaborating with other local players on so many angles, from production, from content acquisition, from content distribution, on our own content productions as well. So we've been partnering with other OTTs in the market and other TV channels, actually, and we don't have any issues with that. So we don't have limitations on from that perspective that no, these are considered competitions, we want to do this or that. This is out of our dictionary. We don't believe in that. We believe more on the collaboration aspect. The market is available and fits for us all. We just need to find a way to work together, actually.
Noted. Thank you, Nadine. Ahmed, I can see on Shahid there are a lot of channels coming of many partners, like Roya, Rotana, or Ashark. Can we expect to see Shahid owned and operated channels on other streaming services with FAST?
I mean, we're open to all business opportunities. That's not something that we have any reservations on. The idea is, as Nadine said, it's about value, right? So if we're going to export our channels to other platforms, what value we would get, right? And we've been discussing with different partners globally and locally, actually, how we should be approaching our FAST channels. But until now, until we see that there is a big value of distributing at channels, again, for Shahid, either on audience level or revenue level or any of the levels, we're happy to entertain the opportunity. As mentioned, we predominantly have Arabic channels. So if we want to launch on other local channels, we need to assess the value and the reach and what we get and how we can grow these brands, because primarily these are brands at the end of the day. So until we see that right fit, I think they stay on Shahid for now. But we're open to any opportunity. Once we see it, we seize it.
Okay, I'll keep tracking you on this. Shujah, you mentioned OTTera, of course, your company, so you distribute already a lot of channels, not only in the region, but all over the world. Can you maybe tell us more about what's happening in LATAM today? And do you use these learnings for Middle East, North Africa?
Yes, absolutely. So actually, when a lot of people, they ask me, you know, how is or they want to get insights about the Middle East market, I tend to compare it from a monetization perspective and an engagement perspective more with the South American market rather than Europe and US for a couple of reasons. Number one is because, I mean, FAST is totally new here, literally started beginning of this year, right? So we are really almost at ground zero. So comparing to markets where it's been live for more than 3 or 4 years wouldn't be realistic. In the markets like in LATAM, for example, where it's been live about for 2 years, we see that engagement keeps growing year after year, certain genres becoming, you know, more mature than others. Also, when it comes to the monetization, the floor price actually of CPMs where LATAM to Middle East are actually similar, likely if not the same. So when I have to look into understanding or make revenue projections for certain of my clients, I tell them, don't look at the UK, do not look at the US where all the fast money is. Compare yourself to the South American market, because you go the scale for the revenue is going to be similar to what we saw in Latin America. So that's, tend to be the more realistic approach. So in the LATAM, you have, I mean, we power a lot of channels there. For every genre, every single media company is doing it there. I know a lot of companies here in the region are trying still to figure out what is the revenue and the opportunity. If you were to be brutally honest, and I think I might break some dreams here, if you're expecting to make money straight away, it's not going to happen. It's really much something that is going to be a midterm or long-term game. It's not going to be something where you're going to get your money out of the tech cost straight away, immediately within the first 3 months.
Okay, it's a good transition to the monetization part of the panel. I'll stay with you, Shujah, about so you mentioned CPM in Latin America. Do you see the region, do you analyze the CPM for the whole region, or like in MENA, the CPM are totally different depending on the countries, like in KSA, Egypt, UAE?
You have certain common grounds, of course, but you have big discrepancies. I mean, like again, the locomotive in the region is against Saudi Arabia, with no surprise to anyone, right? So because we power actually more than several streaming services, more than 100 streaming services in the region, historically for the last almost 5 years, we saw that even, for example, in Saudi Arabia, we get CPM as high as $9, and that's on programmatic. This is not on direct campaign. So $9 CPM on programmatic, this is the average of some of the West European countries, for you to know. So in that regard, it means that from the moment that you create an ecosystem and that we do educate and explain to the advertising industry what are the true addressability behind the content and how we can help them reach out the proper audience they're after, I have no doubt that what the numbers that we see picking up or coming up sometime in Saudi Arabia could really become the habit or the average numbers in the UAE, in Qatar, and other markets in the region, or in Egypt, why not as well? But really much, and again, the other thing is that currently, like globally speaking, in fact, a good 90%, or I would say majority of the companies rely on pure programmatic advertising to get them to monetize an inventory. And us being the only company in the world that has been monetizing direct campaign and programmatic for the US market on LATAM and Europe, we actually understand that even in this region, if you rely on programmatic, it's going to be purely much more slower to get the most of the revenue. So with that logic, our intention is also to build up a direct ad sales here in the region to help support the programmatic. Programmatic is still going to be driving more volume for sure, but the direct campaigns are really much what are going to help you speak up those CPMs and increase the monetization for everyone.
Thank you, Shujah. I have a mix, an hybrid creation for Fares, mixing distribution and monetization. I know that some of your channels you're open to distribute some of your channels to other partners. What are you looking for, reach or revenues, or both?
Well, what's very interesting you mentioned earlier, FAST has enhanced the collaboration across the region on a different level, and has become, it broke the barrier to entry. When you be like, hey, I have a couple of channels I'm willing to give it to you for free, and you get a meeting next day, And then what happens after, you would add another AVOD content to that platform. And then, all right, why not? And then all of a sudden you're selling him some SVOD content. So FAST has opened a lot of doors. We've never done so many deals with so many different platforms in the last 13 years as much as we did in the last year. We have Rotana channels on our platform. We have Roya TV on Shahid, and hopefully we'll have more. We're working with OTTera to have on Turfi and exchange some channels, and hopefully right here also with Weyyak. And it's an interesting trend. Is it healthy? I think we're too soon to say. It's too soon to find out. But it's very important for us to utilize our channels as much as possible and see, does it work on Turfi? Is it monetizing better than what we're doing? So because if it's going to make more money there, then we have a problem with monetization. If we're not making money, Roya, across the board, then there's a problem with FAST. So there's a lot of, we're hungry to know, is FAST working across the board, or is it just not working on my platform? So it's very important for us we're currently working on this upcoming phase is just distribute as much as possible. We have a set of channels, 20 channels that we want to, 20 plus channels, distribute it as much as possible to as many platforms as possible, and then get, data back and try to understand, is this working here or is it working there? Monetization is definitely also another possible revenue stream. But again, I think it's quite interesting that the barrier of entry has become much easier, and we have made more money off of other products compared to FAST, but the reason was FAST, so which is very interesting, which we've been very hungry to open channels with, communication channels with so many broadcasters and currently platforms. It was so hard to get in touch with, because they expect you to sell them a product or buy a product. And now it's like a very free service. Yeah, give me your channels, give me my channels, and then we'll talk about the money, which is very interesting, and I think it's very healthy for the industry.
What you mentioned about the monetization model is very interesting. So on Roya TV, you manage the monetization, and then you're ready to give a revenue share?
It's quite a mess, I must say, because we're trying all different models. So we're carrying some channels they are handling the sales, and we're carrying our channels where we're handling the sales. So it's a bit of mix, and it depends on who's handling the bandwidth. So it's a mess in terms of licensing agreements. But we're quite open to try so many different models and see which one works best. And there's also the issue of transparency and data sharing.
Reporting.
So that's why we're quite willing, okay, give me your channels, you handle your own sales, I'll get the revenues. And with some other partners, no, we handle it. So we're quite flexible, and we're trying all different models, and then I guess time will only tell which one would work, and if any of it would work. You would never know. Maybe it would all fail, and maybe Shahid will take the lead in that, and then we'll give all our content to Shahid. Become like the super fast, or maybe Tarfi would do that. Maybe one of us has to really possibly take the lead in that, because it doesn't make sense that we're all doing fast. It's just weird. 5 years down the road, something's going to stick and someone is going to lead, and then we're going to accept it and be like, you know what, this is the new satellite box and we're fine with it. As long as I can put as many channels as I want, just like how I'm dealing with YouTube, you know, create a channel, drop a channel, put a channel. So maybe Fast eventually will become something that easy to plug in, plug and play sort of technology that, you know, that we can all be utilizing and benefiting from.
Interesting times. Nadine, how do you measure the success of your Fast channels?
See, the first thing that we, just to clarify something, that we do our ad sales in-house. So we have our internal sales team for Weyyak in general. So anything to do with advertising, takeovers, sponsorships, it's handled internally. Accordingly, for our channels, this is how it's done. All of our internal channels of Weyyak, we handle them. We work with different business models, similar to what Faris, you said. So we work with our partners. If the partner is doing the sales for us, then we're happy to do that, no issues. And we just subject to agreements and reporting and stuff. But when it comes to our own channels, then we do it. And that's why we actually built these channels from the first place, is to increase our inventory. And there's something that I personally believe, that I don't make a distinction between the inventory on the Fast channels and on the video on demand. I try my best to explain this to the market, to the agencies, to the planners, that there is no difference and there is no higher value in one of them compared to the other. That's, of course, from my perspective. Actually, the value of the ad unit is the same. We treat it exactly the same. We expect it to deliver in the same terms. It's being delivered through the same platform, so there should not be any type of difference between them. The difference is the platform that we are delivering through. And all of our platforms are performing amazingly well. We are, in terms of viewership and viewability in particular, when it comes to the ad unit, we are considered one of the highest in the market. So we always try to promote this and talk about it more to encourage our clients and agencies and planners to advertise on our platform. What we are trying to do with the Fast channels is just to increase our inventory. That's the main objective, because we know that our users love our content and they want more from us. So why not have these channels prepared for them earlier on, put it for them, and increasing our ad units. That's how we look at it for the time being.
Thank you, Nadine. Ahmed, you already have 70 Fast channels on Shahid. Some of them are very premium. I have in mind Top Gear. Which one are driving revenues today?
I mean, it's the beauty about Fast channels. It's a hybrid between the world of linear and the digital world, right? I mean, it's performance based at the end of the day, and it's very transparent. If the channel is delivering decent reach, specific reach, and traffic, then it's highly likely we'll be monetizing more than the other channels. But again, there is a bit of education, as Nadine said, to the market about how it works, because people are either used to put in a pre-roll in a VOD environment, or they're just used to buying spot buys on TV. But here you're kind of in between. So we've been doing a lot of education to the market about how we should monetize Fast channels, how they're different. How different but similar to the digital world at the same time. So it is an effort. So it depends on the demand at the end of the day. So what we've been doing with Fast is we also have not made a distinction between the inventory between VOD and Fast channels. So when we get a booking for an advertiser, it goes everywhere, depending on the reach, their targeting criteria, which markets, which audience are they after. And then if it happens that that audience is watching a particular channel, then it will get monetized. At the same time, on the other front, on the monetization, we also kind of have a partnership program. So we've been actually seeking different partners to actually join on Shahid and be part of the platform for a certain revenue share that we make. So we kind of play that role. So we sell the advertising. We kind of, I don't want to say an aggregate, because it's not an open platform that anyone can come. It's an opt-in platform. It's a conversation. There's a market fit that we try to also approach with the partners. We're always in discussion with everyone about what's the next channel that we can have on Shahid. So it's been very dynamic in the past year. It's relatively new. And as we're learning with content, we're also learning with monetization.
You are on a hybrid platform, so AVOD and fast and SVOD. Do you use also fast channels as a marketing tool to drive users to SVOD?
Actually, it's a very interesting question. So we actually have the fast channels available to both tiers with advertising. So we actually have not, so SVOD users also a no interruption experience of ads. We did launch ads on fast channels because, again, it's that hybrid world between linear and digital that give you the excuse to kind of do such strategies. Again, do we use it as marketing? Yes, we do. Again, back to the events and occasions approach of launching a channel. Sometimes we would launch a channel for a particular star because we have a new drama coming for him or her. So it depends on what's the approach. So we do use a full channel as a marketing tool sometimes, but sometimes not. It depends on the strategy behind that channel.
Okay, last question for you, Ahmed, about your sales team. So MMS is managing all the advertising related to the fast channels, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So MMS is our exclusive partner in sales. So they sell advertising across all of NBC properties, not just Shahid. And that includes fast as well.
Okay, thank you. Shujah, same question about your sales team. Do you have a dedicated sales team already, or do you need to partner with a local player?
Actually, it depends if you're referring to programmatic agencies or if you're referring to direct, but let me answer both. So historically speaking, we have a direct ad sales on other regions, like in the US, in LATAM, and in Europe. So actually, we've been monetizing with them because we do global campaigns, in fact. For example, we did a global campaign with GM, with Coca-Cola, with TikTok, with Mattel, and many others. So we actually do get deals signed off from the US, but do serve internationally. That's number one. Second of all, on the programmatic level, we have about more than 80 programmatic agencies that are integrated into our ad server. Obviously all the big players from the US and Europe, but I actually started meeting with advertising companies here 2 years ago. So I started engaging with the media agencies and programmatic agencies for the region. And indeed, so in that regards, I have local programmatic agent partners in the region, yes. What I'm looking forward to do is to build the direct ad sale team that should be happening beginning of next year, which will allow to us to deal directly with brands and with media agencies.
Okay, Ahmed mentioned education is very important when it comes to advertising. Do you feel the same when you talk to
Totally.
Advertising partners? Do you have to explain what is premium advertising on CTV? Or?
No, I think what is totally, CTV is totally new for the region, put it this way. It's something that was, for whatever reason, totally neglected by the advertising space in the region. Every single time that I meet a media agency or a programmatic agency in that regards, I happen to explain to them what CTV is and what fast is. I remember meeting, I will not mention his name, a couple of weeks ago, one of the AIB member here of the region, a board member of the AIB, and he told every fast channel was its own application. So I happened to turn on the TV for him and explain to him the user journey of what fast was. And what scared me at that time, that the fact that that person is an AIB board member, what is the knowledge being given to the brand advertisers then? So this is also the reason why one of the work we're doing is meeting up with the local advertisers, with the local agencies and brands to explain to them what CTV is, explain to them how we are working with their counterparts in Europe, in US, in LATAM, so they get to understand more easily what we could do for them here in the Middle East.
Thank you so much, Nadine, Fares, Ahmed, and Shujah for this panel. Very interesting. I learned a lot. I'll make sure I'll use those insights in my next newsletter. Thank you so much. Thank you, DICM, for organizing this DICM Talks about Fast in MENA Part 2. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Yann, to have this panel conducted for. Thank you, all the panelists on behalf of DICM.